Hi everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you my 2017 statistics and goal review. At the beginning of the year, I set myself some reading goals for 2017. So in this video, I'm just going to be reviewing all of those goals, see whether I met them or not. I'm also going to be giving you my statistics for the reading year. I also did a video halfway through the year, kind of as a midway point catch up to see how I was doing. So both of those videos will be linked. Probably in the description box down below. So if you haven't already seen those, do check them out. So we'll start off with my statistics for my 2017 reading year. These are mainly based off just the statistics that I do every month and just kind of totaled up for the year. So in the year of 2017, I read a total of 235 things. That is 35 more books than I read last year. Last year I read 200. Of the 235, 15 were rereads. So the 235 things that I read was made up of 188 novels, 18 novellas, 1 novella collection, 13 children's / middle grade books, 9 graphic novels, 3 manga collections, and 3 short story anthologies. I read 139 books in physical copy, I read 40 ebooks, and I read 56 books on audio, which is huge. So then, discluding the audiobooks, like I normally do in each month, I read 109 books that I owned and 70 from the library. So I'm really happy with that statistic. That was actually a goal that I'd set myself in 2016, to read more books that I owned each month and from the library, and I failed on it every month, I think, except one, and I think it was the opposite this year. I think I didn't set that as a goal, but I did that every month this year except for one, so that's really, really good. I read a total of 79,784 pages in the year of 2017, and I'm really happy with that because that's actually an increase of 17,936 pages from last year, so almost 18,000 more pages than I read last year. I'm really, really happy with that. It averaged out to 219 pages per day, which again is about 50 pages more per day than I was reading last year. And again, I'm really happy with that. It wasn't an official goal of mine, but I was really trying hard to keep my average pages per day above 200. So I'm really happy that I managed to achieve that. The longest book that I read in 2017 was 766 pages, and the shortest book that I read was 31 pages. That was one of the novellas that I read probably. This is a statistic that I just thought was interesting. I read 23 books that were over 500 pages, and I read 38 books that were under 200 pages. So obviously you can see from that statistic that the majority of the books that I read were between 200 and 500 pages, which is to be expected. So just now to go over all of the star ratings that I do and how many books I gave each star rating. So I gave 10 books 5 stars in 2017, but 7 of those were the Harry Potter books on reread, so it's a sad fact that I only gave 3 new to me books 5 stars in 2017. I gave 0 books 4.75 stars, I gave 8 books 4.5 stars, 15 books 4.25 stars, 34 books 4 stars, 26 books 3.75 stars, 54 books 3.5 stars, 9 books 3.25 stars, 34 books 3 stars, 6 books 2.75 stars, 20 books 2.5 stars, 2 books 2.25 stars, and 10 books 2 stars, 0 books 1.75 stars, 5 books 1.5 stars. I gave 1 star rating, and then I also gave, there was a book that I didn't rate at all this year. So my average star rating for the year was 3.43 stars, which is about 0.2 of a star less than what it was last year, which is to be expected. Not only did I have nowhere near the amount of 5-star reads that I would like, I also had actually more lower star ratings as well. I had a few more 1.5 star ratings than that I had in 2016. So just as again, an interesting kind of statistic. My best month in terms of how many books I read was November. I read 28 books in November. The worst month in terms of how many books I read was September. I was really slumpy with my reading kind of in September, and I just had stuff going on that month, and I only ended up reading 12 books in September, which is very below average for me. My best month in the average star rating was February, where my average star rating actually equaled out to 3.71 stars, which is a really good average star rating. And my worst month in terms of the average star rating was again September, where my average star rating was only 3.13. So September was just all around a really shitty month for reading for me. So those are all of my statistics that I have. So now let's move on to all of the goals that I set myself and see how I did with those. So the first goal that I set myself was my Goodreads reading challenge, and I'd set my goal at the start of the year at 130 books. And I had based that off reading 2.5 books per week. And I knew that it was probably something that I would be able to achieve because in the previous year I'd read 200, so I thought it was pretty achievable. And I actually hit, like as of 30 June when I did my review, I'd read 116, so I was already pretty close. I read my 130th book on the 20th of July. And I'm not sure because I didn't document it well, but I'm pretty sure at that point I updated my goal to 180, I think it was. And I hit 180 books on the 13th of October. And I then upped it again to 200. And I hit 200 on the 16th of November. And then I just left it at 200. And overall, as I already mentioned, I did end up reading 235 books in the year of 2017. So I definitely achieved this goal. The second reading goal I'd set for myself was a really simple one, and it was just to reread the Harry Potter series. It was a carryover from a challenge that I'd set myself in 2016 that I just didn't get around to, and I'm happy that I definitely did get to the Harry Potter reread this year. I managed to read all 7 books, and I think I completed the reread in about July, so I'm really happy to have once again reread Harry Potter. My third reading goal that I'd set for myself was to complete the Around the Year in 52 Books challenge. So this is a challenge that is hosted over on Goodreads, with the idea being that there's a different challenge for each week of the year. I don't do it that way. I just have all of the 52 challenges and try to check them off where I can throughout the year. This is, I think, the second year that I've done the Around the Year in 52 Book challenge. I'll leave the Goodreads group link down below in case you're interested. And this year, I'm calling it a win. There was one, I will be doing a separate video as I did last year saying what each of the challenges are and what book I used to meet that challenge because I find that really interesting. I don't know if you guys do, but I do, so I'm going to film it. And there was one challenge that I technically didn't complete, which I'll talk about when I do that video, but in the rules of like the kind of challenge, if you don't meet one challenge, you can use a wild card. And there's only one challenge that I didn't get to, so if I can use that wild card, then that counts as a completed challenge, and I did complete all 52 challenges, so I'm calling this one a win as well, even if it's cheating. My fourth reading goal was to complete page 5 of my physical to-read list. So I should have brought it in with me here so I can show you, but I didn't. I have a physical notebook that I have for a really, really, really long time been writing down. It was kind of what I used to use before I ever had Goodreads, where I used to write down, and I still do, write down every book that I had ever noticed and had decided that I wanted to read. And I never was making any progress with that list, and so I made it a goal to complete page 5 of that list, and I had 9 books left on page 5 that I needed to read. So as of the 30th of June, when I did my goal review, I had read 3, DNF'd 1, and decided not to read 2 others. So I only have 3 left to read at 30 June. So I'll go through the 9 books quickly. They were A Disobedient Girl by Rue Freeman, which I did read, and I gave 3 stars. Telltale by Sam Hayes, which I did read, and again I gave 3 stars. The Winter House by Nikki Gerard, which again I read, and I gave 3.75 stars. Playing the Field by Zoe Foster, which I unfortunately DNF'd. Love Machine by Clinton Coward, which is one that I decided not to read. Bluebuds by Melissa Delacruz, which I did read. I gave 2.5 stars and decided not to continue on with that series. Players by Karen Swan, which I did read, and I gave 2.5 stars. Getting Over Mr. Right by Chrissy Manby, which I did read, and I gave 2 stars. A Wild Affair by Gemma Townley, which again I decided not to read. So I'm calling that a win. There are a couple there that I decided not to read, but it wasn't because I had to rush through them to win the challenge or goal. It was that upon reflection on those books and having, as an older person and having looked, just deciding that they weren't books that I was interested in reading in some cases because I couldn't get my hands on a copy and it just wasn't worth, I wasn't willing to spend the money on buying them because they're just not things that I'm necessarily that interested in. So I've crossed all of those books off that page, so I'm really happy to say that I did complete that challenge. My 5th reading goal was kind of a continuation of the previous goal, and that was that I wanted to read 10 of the first 20 books that were listed on my Goodreads To Read list. So this is, again, just with the idea of getting through books that I had wanted to read for a really, really long time and had just never gotten around to. So again, I'll quickly mention the 20 books that were on that first page of my Goodreads To Read list. They were Bridget Jones' Diary by Helen Fielding, Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen, Looking for Alaska by John Green, The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling, Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, The Gift of Looking Closely by Al Brooks, A School for Unusual Girls by Kathleen Baldwin, The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson, Don't Look Back by Jennifer L. Armentrout, Sisters Red by Jackson Pierce, Defending Jacob by William Landy, The Edge of Normal by Carla Norton, Spark by Rachel Craw, The Winner's Curse by Marie Rutkowski, Creed by Trisha Lever, A Thousand Pieces of You by Claudia Gray, The Silence of Six by E.C. Myers, Etiquette and Espionage by Gail Carriger, and Alice in Zombieland by Gina Showalter. So, of those 20 books, I read Bridget Jones' Diary, I read Water for Elephants, I read The Casual Vacancy, I read The Gift of Looking Closely, I read A School for Unusual Girls, I read The Sky's Everywhere, I read Don't Look Back, I read Sisters Red, and I read The Winner's Curse. So I read 9 of the 20. So I was one off meeting this goal. And the one that I'd planned to read is Looking for Alaska by John Green. I own that book and I had it on my December TBR, but unfortunately I just left it too late in the year to get to, and I just didn't get to it. So I didn't meet this goal, but I'm still really happy that I managed to get 9 of those books that I'd been wanting to read for so long read. So even though I didn't technically meet this goal, I'm still really happy with how I did. And my 6th and final reading goal was to read 50 books from my physical TBR shelf that I owned prior to 2017. So this was purely books that I have on the bookshelves and on the floor in my bedroom, the books that I own that I haven't read, but they had to be ones that I owned before January 1st last year. I wasn't counting any book that I bought and read in the same year. As of my 30 June goal review, I'd read 23 of the 50 books, so I wasn't too far off completing it, and I'm happy to report that as of the end of the year, I read 58 books from my physical TBR shelf. So I'm really happy that I managed to complete that goal. I really wish that I would have read even more, because I read 235 books. So to have only read, I mean, not only because I did, again, buy some books in the year and read those, there are a few more than that reflects that I did read that I own. And I count, when I do my statistics and I count books that I own, like when I give those statistics each month, I include the books that I own as books from my Kindle, because they are books that I own on my Kindle, but I don't include those in this goal. So I wish that I'd read even more than this, but I am still really happy that I managed to read 58, even if I definitely purchased way more than 58. So I'm sure that I didn't count, but I'm sure my number of how many books I own at the start of 2016 to the end of 2016 was definitely an increased number, but I am still really happy that I did achieve this goal. And lastly, I had set myself one channel goal, and that was really just to try and comment on at least one video that I watched every day. And I will say that I definitely did not complete this, sadly. I will say that this does have a little bit to do with, and I've mentioned this before, that I watch videos mainly on my phone while I'm doing other things, and that's fine. I had made it a plan to try take the time and comment when a video finished if it was something that I was interested in commenting on, but I don't know if this has been an issue for anyone else. The YouTube app on my phone has been terrible, particularly in the last 6 months or so, where I can watch the video, but the description and the comments and all of that stuff just doesn't load. It just has an error message and I can't get it to load. It's actually gotten better in the last couple of weeks, but for ages, if I was watching on my phone, I couldn't even, and it was so annoying because I couldn't even read the description box or read comments from other people, let alone comment myself. Because sometimes someone will say something and I'll think, oh yeah, what do people have to say about that? And I'll go to the comments and I couldn't, oh my God, it was so annoying. So I don't know what was going on with that. And it was also really annoying because not only would it not load the description and the comments, but because I was watching it through my watch later, list on YouTube, it also wouldn't load the watch later queue, which meant it wouldn't just play the videos without me having to click on it. I would have to, when every video ended, go in and click onto the next video to get it to load, which was such a pain in the butt. And I still am having, even though now the descriptions for the most part are loading, my watch later queue doesn't load on my phone, and I don't know if it's because I have too many videos in my watch later, because at current time I have more than 2,000 videos in my watch later, which is freaking ridiculous, I know, and I keep telling myself that I'm going to be able to catch up, but I just don't even know if I'm just going to have to accept that I'm always going to be like 2 or 3 months behind on videos, but I don't know, I need to sort something out with that. This is going off on a complete tangent. My point is, I didn't achieve this, but I'm still really happy. I've become a lot more involved. Like, there's a lot of people, not a lot, but there are a few people in particular that I've really connected with over the last year that I talk to, you know, fairly regularly, and I have some regular commenters on my channel and things like that. So I am just pretty happy. I'm not the biggest or fastest growing channel by any stretch of anyone's imagination, and that's fine. I have no, you know, illusions that I'm going to be, you know, the next like Jessie the Reader or Catty-tastic, and that's fine. So I am pretty happy. Even though I didn't meet this goal, I definitely, like, not even by any stretch of the imagination can you say that I met this goal, because I really didn't, but I am still really happy with, you know, where I am kind of on BookTube, and I would still like to make more of an effort to comment, because I should just be better about that. I really should, but overall I'm still pretty happy. So those were my reading statistics and how I did with my goals in 2017. I would love to chat in the comments down below if you've got any thoughts on any of my reading goals, or how you guys did with your reading goals. Did you guys set yourself a goal? Did you meet your Goodreads reading challenge? I would love to chat in the comments down below. Stay tuned to my channel, because I will have my 2018 goals coming up soon, as well as that, like I mentioned, that around the year in 52 books kind of wrap up. I'll be doing that as well. So I do have some more exciting content coming in later in January. So please subscribe if you want to be, you know, around for that. Please like this video if you liked it. But that's all I've got for this video today. Bye guys.